I hate the word Hasbara. You do Hasbara, PR, with your feet, not with your mouth. What are you going to show? How nice you are, that you're giving these terrorists another mattress, another meal every day? What your Hasbara is doing is exactly the opposite. Your best Hasbara is destroying your enemy. Very simple.
Joining me today is former Deputy Speaker of the Knesset, founder of the Zehut Party, and best-selling author of Israel is Just the Beginning, Moshe Feiglin. Moshe has spent decades challenging Israel's political establishment, and today we're diving into his vision for Israel's future. Moshe, welcome.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
Moshe, after everything that's happened since October 7th, Israel has fought on multiple fronts, eliminated many of its enemies, leaders, and changed the Middle East. But do you think that Israel actually has achieved victory, lasting victory, or is it simply surviving this war?
Well, surviving this war definitely is much more accurate answer. We did not defeat our enemies in none of the major fronts that we fought. And I think we need to dig inside and understand why, because it was achievable. It is still achievable. And in any front that we will not achieve full victory, we'll get another round that might be even much more dangerous than the one before, and we cannot allow it to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Now, you spent more than 30 years warning that Israel's greatest danger wasn't Hamas, Hezbollah, or Iran, but the ideas guiding Israel's own leadership. So, after everything that's happened, do you believe that history has proven you right? Do you still hold those beliefs?
Definitely, and it's not only Israel that in danger because of this progressive concept that basically destroyed the Western civilization ability to protect itself and definitely to win wars. It's not only Israel, it's the entire Western, or what I call the monotheistic civilization that is crumbling down these days. Take America and Iran, the United States of America and Iran, for example. The way I see it, Iran simply won that war. Take Gaza and Israel. Okay, Israel could won that war in 1 week, just simply by shutting off the water supply to Gaza, and whoever wants to have a cup of water should come out of the tunnel with hostages. That's the way it's done in any normal war. But instead of that, we let almost 1,000 soldiers get killed and did not achieve any of our goals. Definitely not full victory. The reason is that when national entities, national states observe the progressive concepts, they simply cannot win wars. And that is true for Israel, and that is true for America, and definitely true for Europe. Now, while the national entity, or the entity of Gaza attacked Israel, we did not see Gaza as the enemy, but we saw Hamas as the enemy. It was not the Hezbollah that attacked Israel from the north. It was Lebanon. The definition of a state, or who controls the state or represents the state, is well known all over the world. The definition is the one who have the monopole on using the power. Those who have the ability to use weapon, the strongest force in the state is the representative of the state. That's the way it's done. So Hamas is Gaza, and Gaza is Hamas. In Gaza, it's even more than just the fact that Hamas is the strongest force in Gaza. They democratically voted for these monsters, not Muslim Nazi monsters. But in Lebanon, it's definitely the Hezbollah who have the ability to, the strongest force, and therefore Hezbollah is Lebanon, and Lebanon is Hezbollah. It doesn't mean that there's no opposition, but once from your territory the strongest force is attacking me, then and you consider yourself an entity, a national entity, then it's your responsibility. So our enemy up north is Lebanon. And the enemy of Israel and America was not the Iranian regime, it was the Iranian people and the Iranian state. Now, because we observed these concepts of no identity anymore, these progressive concepts that erased any human identity. You can be a fox or cat or a dog if you want. No human identity, no sexual identity, no family identity, and definitely no national identity. It's all primitive concepts from the past that primitive people like me, for example, invented. So once we observe these ridiculous concepts, we cannot identify our enemy anymore as an entity. For example, when Germany attacked England in World War II, England did not see the German Luftwaffe, the Air Force, as the enemy, or the German Nazi Party as the enemy. Germany was the enemy. Japan was the enemy, which meant that every city that the Allies could reach, they burned to ashes. They understood that the enemy is a national enemy, not individual individuals, or not even organization. We're talking about a war. War is something that's happening between nations. So as long as they can identify who their enemy, okay, they did not attack the people of Kibbutz Be'eri or Netiv HaAsara at the 7th of October. They attacked Israel. They attacked the Jews, the people of Israel, the Jewish nation. They didn't have a personal deal with somebody in these places. They attacked us as a nation. Same thing up north. So, but we looking for the organization and those who were involved and those who were not involved. They act like an army, and we act as a police. And when that's and with Iran, for example, America was very, very careful and forced Israel as well not to attack the oil whales and the ability to export oil of Iran. This is 90%, 90% of the Iranian income. It was easy to win the war against Iran as well, but you looked for the regime, for the army, and when you fight wars this way, you're going to lose, no matter how stronger you are, and you are for sure. But this is the bottom line that we see in every front.
Now, it seems that Israel is always worried about what is the world going to say about us if we do this? What does America allow us to do? Do you think that the fact that we're so concerned about what other people will say is holding us back from doing what we need to do?
Yeah, the real enemy is our own conscience. It's not the world. It's not America. Look, Trump told you at the beginning, evacuate Gaza. Basically, he came up with the solution of the Zehut party in 2019. Zehut ran to the Knesset, almost got in. You can see our platform behind me. That's exactly what we said should be done in Gaza, and we said it before the 7th of October. Okay? So that's the solution. The solution is to understand that the land of Israel belongs to the people of Israel, and the Gaza Strip and Judea and Samaria is definitely the heart of the biblical land that was promised to the Jews. It belongs to the people of Israel. So justice is with us. We are not visitors here. We're not colonialists here. This is the land that was promised to us by God many, many times. And there's no claim, or no one saying that Gaza or Judea and Samaria or Beit El, Shechem, and Nablus or Hebron, definitely not Jerusalem, is not part of the Holy Land, which God promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It belongs to us, and therefore we are not occupiers. We are doing good and seek for justice when we taking our land back from these Islamo-Nazi monsters. And when we coming from that way of mind, that conscience, it's not. There's nothing to negotiate here. It's not even us to give back to somebody. We got it from God for a reason. We have a mission here in our land to show the light to the entire humanity. Okay, we are the people of the book. What are you talking about? Nothing to talk about. Once we get into that kind of conscience and not start getting into this nitty gritty, can you deal with Hamas? Can you not deal with Hamas? Is the Hezbollah going to give away their weapons or not? All these nonsense. Okay, once you're putting yourself in that position, then the world is listening to you and respect you. But once you're making yourself a slave, or kind of worse than a slave even, of the Americans, you give away your sovereignty, you're letting the Americans run your army according to their interest, then the price of the gas that the American driver pay in New Jersey is more expensive than the price of blood that we paying here with a war that never ends. So we need to change dramatically the conscience and the way we think here. And then the Americans will be us 10 times more, and the world will love us and will be with us. That's what the short historical experience shows. The Americans started to be real allies of Israel only after the 6-Day War, when Israel defeated all its enemies and took the whole Sinai Peninsula and the Judea and Samaria and the Golan Heights and Jerusalem. Only then we started to get the weapons from the Americans. In 1948, they put an embargo, trying to convince Ben Gurion not to declare Jewish state at all. So that's the way it works. It's not working by bowing all the time and trying to show how humane you are. When you show that you're strong, when you're showing that you stand behind your concepts, you're showing you that you believe in God, you understand what you're doing here, then the world respects you and looking to make business with you.
Now, Netanyahu, for almost 3 years, has been saying that Israel is pursuing total victory, nitzachon muchlat. Has Israel already missed that chance for total victory? And was it even possible to begin with?
As I said, it was definitely possible at the beginning. It's still possible now. Israel should not wait for them to attack. But Netanyahu, when he was talking about nitzachon muchlat, full victory, excuse me, I have no idea what he was talking about, but he definitely did not achieve that.
Now, what are some of the mistakes that Israel has made after October 7th? I mean, of course, the fact that October 7th happened was a very big mistake. But after October 7th, for example, if you were prime minister, would there be some decisions that you would make differently?
Look, October 7th was more than just a disaster. It was a Yom Shoah, a Holocaust day. I mean, it was the worst disaster that the Jewish nation got since Auschwitz, since the Holocaust, okay? And we had a window of opportunity of about 2 weeks to do whatever we want. And the only end of the game, or end of the picture of the end picture that Netanyahu had in mind was Oslo, going back to the 6th of October and the concepts of Oslo. What I am talking about, okay, throw the Oslo agreements to the garbage of history, expel them out to El Arish, to Egypt. And the Egyptians were waiting. The Egyptians understood at the beginning that this is what's going to happen. They even offered to take 200,000 of them at the first week. There are only 800,000 Arabs in Gaza altogether, less than 1 million. Okay? The whole world would have taken them from El Arish, and that's it. The Gush Katif would have been flourished again. An international airport would have been built already there, instead of being Ben Gurion, which is in the middle of urban looking for better places. That's the best place near the seashore. And the picture of victory would have been very, very visual, and the whole world would have understand what happened when you attack Israel. When you attack Israel, you're losing the territory you attacked from. Definitely, when your territory is part of the promised land. Okay, that's what we needed to do in Gaza, and it was definitely we missed that opportunity, which means that now we need to do it without legitimacy. So now it's harder. Yet this is what needs to be done. In Lebanon, it's exactly the same story. Exactly the same story. We're talking about land that most of it was held by Jews before 1948, including my family, by the way. That the land of the Ayun Valley what belonged to the people of Metura, which founded also by my family. So I know it from a personal point of view already. Most of the land between the Golan Heights and Damascus belonged to Jews in a taboo. Okay, and it's part of Eretz Israel as well. So if you're attacking us from this land, they should know that every time they're attacking us, they're losing land. And that's how victory looks like. No, there's no other way victory looks like. Okay? And we definitely could achieve it in Lebanon after the Beeper attack. They were totally destroyed. What did you wait for? In every military academy, they tell you when you hit and you succeed, you have to continue. But there was no plan. All the Israelis are looking is to go back to the borders and dig their heads in the ground again. Like, okay, we need to change our way of mind, our conscience completely. The land is our. Trump told Netanyahu when the state of Syria, the fake state of Syria, fell apart, just like the fake state of Iraq and the fake state of Lebanon is going to fall. Is one big. The whole states that were created by the Sykes-Picot agreements after World War I are fake states, and they're all gonna disappear, including Jordan. They're all going to disappear. Okay? Now, when it happened to Syria, Trump told Netanyahu, go ahead and take a third of Syria. I need you as a strong ally with a strategic depth. Why didn't you do it? Because instead of seeing yourself as a regional power, you see yourself as a community that's waiting for orders from the big boss from America, Uncle Sam. All Netanyahu wanted is, instead of him taking back Gaza to an Israeli sovereignty, the Americans taking it away from us and taking responsibility. Oh, yes? You want them to take it? So at the end, that's what Trump did. But the Americans are not working for us. They have their own interests. Trump don't want the prices of oil to jump up and to lose the mid-term election. So who's paying the price? The Israeli soldiers that are stuck now in the middle of Lebanon because Trump cut a deal with the Iranians, and the Iranians told Trump they're not talking to him unless Israel is stopping the attack in Lebanon. So the bottom line is that when you're making yourself a servant of the Americans, not only that you're not getting the protection from the Americans, you're paying with blood of your children, your soldiers.
Yeah. Now, I'm wondering something from a perspective from America. It seems like in the Knesset, there are only a handful of people that speak like you, like have your beliefs, strong beliefs, and those people are labeled as far right, extremists, all these different things. Why is that the case?
Look, every time somebody's telling the truth, he's labeled like that. Churchill was labeled like that. Exactly like that. The London Times wrote in 1930, I don't remember exactly when, before the war, that Churchill should be hanged in Times Square. So when push come to shove and the time came, he was the right man at the right time. It's always when people are saying, people always looking to stay in their comfort zone. So, but after the 7th of October, you're still talking like that about those people who knew what's coming? If my platform, if the Zehut Party platform would have been taken seriously in 2019, there wouldn't be any 7th of October. If they would have listened to me 30 years ago when they came with the Oslo agreements, when I started the Zu Artzeinu, this is our land movement, and protest against it as loud as they could. I was charged for sedition, believe it or not. Okay, I'm very proud of that, by the way. My charge sheet is hanging on my living room wall. Okay, and here's the results. So now, when you got this Holocaust Day, full Holocaust Day, concentrate in one in 24, 36 hours, with all the horrors, you still mark those people who saw reality the right way, and still see reality in the right way, and the only ones who knows what to do in order to prevent ourselves from getting it again, God forbid. You're still calling them extremists? If you do, I guess nothing's going to help against people like you. That's all I can say.
But where do you think the Israeli public believes? Do the Knesset actually represent the people, the views of the public, or not?
Look, the views of the public is something that depends on the leaders. When my voice is not heard in the Knesset, only out of the Knesset. So, people from the left, even from the kibbutzim, spoke exactly like, even more extreme than what I at the first weeks after the 7th of October. But then they see that not only in the leftist parties, no one talks like that, but also in Likud and in the right-wing government, no one talks like that. So they assume that there's no ability to talk like that and to implement policies like that. But it's not true. As I mentioned before, the American president himself, Trump, said, let's send them out of Gaza. He covered it with all kinds of stories, but the bottom line was Gaza should be empty from these monsters. The problem was not the Americans. And the problem is not if you're extreme or not extreme. We're not extreme. We are simply realistic and looking for justice and know what's right and wrong here. What I'm representing here is called moral clarity. Okay, so this is not extreme. But when there's no one in the leadership that talks like that and make it something that you hear all the time, so what do you want? What do you expect from the people?
Now, you often say this isn't a territorial war, and you believe it's a spiritual war. Why do you think that so many Israeli leaders don't speak like that, and they still believe it's a political conflict?
Because everybody's looking at the world from the hole in a door that he's used to. Okay, but I believe that my perspective is the only right way to see the situation and to come up with solutions. And when I said it 30 years ago, it was much easier to argue. But now that everything that I said came true, including things that I said not 30 years ago, but 3 years ago, after the 7th of October, I said, the way we're taking, this is how it's going to end. I said, at the end, we not only that we're not going to win the Hamas, we're going to supply them with food and everything they need, which is exactly what's happening right now. 700 trucks from Israel directly to Hamas every day. Unbelievable. Okay? Because when you still have leadership, army leadership, and political leadership, yes, that think through progressive concepts and through the idea of Oslo, which is totally an implementation of progressive ideas. It was obvious. I could do one and one and tell you exactly where we're going to be 3 years from there. This is exactly where we are now. So yes, we need to totally change our leadership in both military and in politics, and change our conscience and the concepts that we come with to solve the problem.
Now, we speak about progressivism. What exactly is progressivism, and why do you believe that, like you said, it's one of Israel's, strategic weaknesses?
Well, first of all, as you mentioned before, I just published a book about the subject. You can see the red book behind me. Israel is just the beginning. It became a bestseller in Amazon under the category of Middle East studies. And it's much more than just the Middle East. And the message there is international, not just for Israelis or Jewish people. There's a reason why it became a bestseller. However, progressivism is a concept that says there's no God, and therefore there's no identities. All the identities are human inventions, and we can invent ourselves as we want. And so this is the basic concept. It's very similar to the Bolshevik Revolution at the early days of, at the beginning of the 20th century. It basically says the same. There's no God, no national identity, and there's only the proletariat, the workers, and those who have the money, those who have the fortune, and there should be a continuous war between these social layers, and equality all over the world. Progressivism is saying exactly the same. No identities, but they go further. Not only no national identities, but no any other identity as well. As I said before, human, sexual, family identity, or so on. And everybody has to fight against each other. Blacks against white, Muslims against Christian, or whatever, West against Muslims, men against women, and everybody together against the Jews. It's always end up with killing all the Jews, as the Soviets wanted to kill in the early 50s all the Jews. By the way, in 1953, Stalin was ready to continue the Holocaust and kill 5 million Jews in Russia. And now the progressivism looking to destroy Israel and kill all the Jews in the world. Basically, that's what they're looking for. These two ideologies, progressivism that looks to destroy civilization by destroying all the identities, the basic identities, the family and the basic national identities, that's the progressivism. And the Islam that looks to destroy civilization as by destroying not identity, but destroying liberty. The Islam destroy any kind of liberty, freedom, human freedom. So when you destroy these two concepts, freedom and identity, your first enemy is the Jews that brought these two concepts to the world from Mount Sinai 3,000 years ago. Because on Mount Sinai, we, the Jews, saw God, okay, and came with and got into a covenant with God, and our basic existence testify the existence of God. So by destroying the Jewish nation, killing the Jews, you basically get rid of God. But not only the message of identity we brought from Mount Sinai by testify that God exists and create the different identities, the, 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 the light, the water, the earth, the human identity, animal identity, men, women, and so on. But Moses also brought the 10 Commandments, which means everybody are equal again under the same law that we got from God. You're not allowed to kill each other. Even if you're the king, you're not allowed to kill the last servant because his life don't belong to you, they belong to God. He gave the rules, to the Ten Commandments. So basically, the Jews brought these two concepts to the world: identity, by testifying the existence of God, and liberty by bringing the Ten Commandments to the entire world. And when you looking to destroy civilization that is based and was always based on these two concepts, identity and liberty, those who brought these two concepts, the Jews, must be eliminated. And that's why you see today the Islam and the progressive movements join forces together, even though no one can immediately say what's the connection between that. But this is the connection. The wish to destroy civilization is what combined these two ideologies that at the first impression looks that they have nothing to do with each other. But this is what combined them. And the enemy is the Jews. But the Jews and the state of Israel that represents the Jewish nation are not only the enemy, but also the front line or the last chance to save civilization. And that's what many people do not understand. Some do, some don't. Okay? Because the victory that Israel will achieve on its enemies will be also the victory of the entire civilization and its ability to exist, to continue and exist.
If America stopped supporting Israel tomorrow, do you think that Israel could survive? What would be the positives and potential negatives of that?
Of course, it will be hard, but this is something, but in the long term, it will be very good for Israel.
Mhm.
Israel dealt with its enemies as much smaller and weaker state until 1967, include without American support, without American weapon. We won the wars of the Independent War in 1948, the Six-Day War in 1967. We won the big wars without America. And since we started to get American weapon and support, we stopped winning wars historically. So it works exactly the opposite. I'm not saying to cut off our relationship and good relationship with America. They should be based on interests. They should be a good relationship with others as well. India, Argentina, Greece against Turkey, many common interests we should develop, and Israel should supply most of its own needs for weapons, and it can do that. Israel today is 10 times more richer, stronger, bigger in population than it was in 1967, and there is no need that the army will be smaller than it was in 1967, in 1973, which is ridiculous. Okay, and our ability to manufacture our weapon is much bigger today, and that's the direction that Israel should take today.
Now, we know that President Trump was probably the best president for Israel, but is there a concern about what's going to be after Trump, the next administration? Even if it's a Republican, could be J.D. Vance, and if it's a Democrat, then it's even worse. Is there concerns about what's going to be coming in the future?
Look, the blessing that we got from Bil'am, hen am levadad yishkon u'b'goyim lo yitchashav. People that should sit by themselves and do not take into account the other nations is something that we need to observe and understand. Yes, Trump did very good things for Israel and for the entire world, and we all thank him for that. Just the fact that he decided that in any official paper in America there will be only men and women, and not more than that. He did something tremendous for the entire humanity. This guy. But he's very unexpected, and the wave of anti-Semitism do not stop at the Democrat Party, as we know. And we should be ready for a very, very negative America. What's happening in New York with Mamdani right now will happen in many other places in America. The fact that Israel did not win that war brought on us a tremendous wave of anti-Semitism, which I knew is coming. I said already at the beginning of, right after the 7th of October, if we're going to start waving with a picture of the hostages, we're going to get exactly the opposite. We're going to get a wave of anti-Semitism that we will not know what to do with. And this is exactly what happened. I mean, again and again, what I said proved itself to be right. My way of understanding reality proved itself to be right. So I don't blame Trump for what's happening. I blame only ourselves in Israel. Okay. The test was the 7th of October was a test. Can Israel eliminate these evil forces from the world? This is our mission. Okay. We should bring light to the nations. That's the reason why Israel was created for. The Balfour Declaration was given to us from that reason, openly, to bring light to the nations after the horrors of the World War I. Once we just imagine how the world would have looked like if World War II would ended with the Nazi regime still somehow holding Germany. We were not able to do to Gaza what the Allies, America, England, did to Germany, to the Nazis, after World War II. We left this satanic forces instead of showing the world how goodness should deal with this evilness. So by doing that, and then asking for mercy from the entire world, we show that there's no need to this whole Zionist experience in the world. And that's why the anti-Semitism wave rised when we thought, how can it be? Look how terrible they were. It's not about that. It's not about that. You're supposed to show us the way, Mr. Jew. If not, don't look for our mercy. If you're not bringing anything to help the entire world looking for its way, so what do we need you at all? It's only us and ourselves. Once we will get back to our identity and mission and vision and what we're supposed to do here, it'll be easy. But as long as we looking ourselves around to be nice and to show the whole world that we have women in the tanks and we have, nice homosexual seashores in the Dead Sea, and try to show that we are modern and human and LGBT and all this nonsense, we're not going to get a positive response from the world. We have enough of that in Europe, in America. We don't need you for that.
So what does Israel have to do when it comes to public relations? Obviously, they need to do a better job, but what practically can they do to change people's minds about Israel?
We don't need to change people's mind. We should change our own mind. I hate the word Hasbara. You do Hasbara, PR, with your feet, not with your mouth. What are you going to show? How nice you are? That you're giving these terrorists another mattress, another meal every day? What your Hasbara is doing is exactly the opposite. Your best Hasbara is destroying your enemy. Very simple.
Now, what would you say to people that believe that peace with Palestinians is still possible? Can Gaza ever truly become peaceful under any leadership?
First of all, we should not use the word Palestinians at all. There is no Palestinian nation. It's the biggest historical lie of the 20th century. And we should say the truth. There are no national entity managed to hold the land of Israel from the time The Jews were expelled by the Romans. Our temple was destroyed 2,000 years ago, and the Jews were destroyed and sent to the diaspora. No other national entity ever managed to create kingdom or state, independent kingdom or state or any kind of national entity in the land of Israel. Definitely no Palestinians, which never exists. Okay, it's a lie. By the way, it was promised to us in the Bible again and again. V'shamemu alea oiveichem. It says your enemy will not be able to hold the land, and history shows, this is exactly what happened until the Jews came back. So we should not use the language that basically was created to take away our land from us. This land belongs only to the Jewish nation. That's first of all. Now, those who live with peace with us and understand that the land of Israel is the national home of the Jewish nation and only the Jewish nation, no two-state solution, no other nonsense, okay, can live with us and have all their human rights. No problem. But those who have any dream of creating their own state should not stay here for a second on our land. You have 22 Arab states. Go choose yourself one of them or create another one on the moon. I don't care.
What responsibility do Arab leaders bear for keeping this conflict alive?
They say no Jews, no news, right? As long as you fight the Jews, the whole world care about you and you get money and support and then you're on the wheel. Once you're just killing Arabs, I mean, who cares about the fact the Iranian killed 50,000 of their own people? Who cares? If it would have been, if one of the Israeli pilots would miss and shoot a civilian home, that's when the whole world will suddenly scream. So it's about that. It's about they fighting against the Jews. Well, of course, it's a religious war, but it's also practical good for the leaders to fight Israel and the Jews. You get all the progressive forces in the world behind you, and anti-Semite forces behind you. The UN is behind you. The big European money is behind you. Why not?
Now, how do you define Zionism today? And has secular Zionism reached its limits?
Look, what Zionism tried to reach is to rebuild Jewish nationalism with the Enlightenment concepts, with the modern state concepts, meaning without the belief in God, secular concepts. Okay, you can be Muslim, Christian, Jewish in ideologic in your religion, and then being Israeli. It's the same thing. Just as you can be a British or American, Muslim or Christian or no religious. That's what Zionism tried to do with the Jewish nation. Create a nation on a new concept, not with the covenant with God, but the covenant with the earth. Okay, that's why the Declaration of Independence of Israel starts with the sentence, Be'eretz Yisrael kam ha'am ha'yehudi. In the land of Israel, the nation of Israel rise. There's only one problem. It's not true. Historically, the nation of Israel were created in Egypt and in Mount Sinai. We came into the land of Israel as a nation already. We did not have a covenant with the earth like other nations. We had a covenant with the sky, with God, that made us a nation. So this new secular nationality that Zionism created works very, very, very well, but on a limited time. It gave the Israelis the power, the strength to win the wars at the first 19, 20 years. And then after the victory of Six-Day War, when it was not just a war of existence anymore, but we had to start asking ourselves, now that we are not under immediate threat from our neighbors because we won the war dramatically. So we need to look for a positive reason why we are here and what will keep us united and as a nation. And we needed to switch from Zionism of existence to Zionism of purpose. And because we did not do it at the 50 years that passed since Yom Kippur War and until today, we lost our national sense without noticing. In this short secular nationality that Zionism created fade away, and we had to switch from Zionism of existence to Zionism of purpose based or on our Jewish values, on our biblical values, to create a positive reason for our existence, not just Auschwitz. You know, we created our temple became, our Yad Vashem became our temple, the temple of existence, the temple of survival. No, you need the real temple, this temple, on the Temple Mount, that represents the light of the nation that we're supposed to spread, the message of one God to the entire world. And because we didn't do it, this short time synthetic nationality that we created faded away. And at the 7th of October, Netanyahu was not a prime minister of a nation. He was the head of a community again, just in the diaspora. And when the Cossacks came and did a pogrom at the community, just in Poland and Russia, we were all waiting for the Tsar to come and save us from the Cossacks with his Gerald Ford Harrier. Instead of acting like a nation, take territory and win the war, we acted like a community in a diaspora again. Our conscience became a conscience of a community again because of the lack of national conscience that we had to develop based on our original values and message. So there's a lot of work to do here and a lot of things we need to, develop here. The good news is that the young generation in Israel is ready exactly for that. I'm talking to them in Tel Aviv. I'm talking to them in Herzliya. They listen to me with their eyes wide open. Suddenly, their life here, they understand that their life here has a meaning. They're not just were born here by mistake, instead of in New York or in Uganda. There's a reason why they are here. Zehut is not a religious party. It's all about making our Torah our culture again, a culture of a nation on its land. The terms Israeli and the term Jew should become one again, just as it was before before the destruction of the temple 2,000 years ago. It's a very exciting historical thing that is happening today in the Israeli society, and we should help it happen as fast as can be.
Moshe, I want to thank you for your time for this enlightening conversation. I'm sure that our audience will learn a lot from it. How can people find you, follow you, hear more from you, purchase your book? Anything you'd like them to know?
Getting the book is very easy. You get into Amazon and push Israel is just the beginning, or push my name, and immediately you'll get it. And really, everything I said now is explained in details in the book, and I can tell you that you can see in the, people write about the book in Amazon. I don't know if who is a Jew and who is not. Sometimes you know by the name. Usually you don't, but people, the most touching, I would say, critics was somebody that wrote, I'm reading books for 70 years and no book made me think as that book. Okay. So
Wow.
people get very excited when they read it. So first of all, get the book and read it. And second, join the Zahut party. You can get into our website easy. We need the support of every Israeli and every Jew in the world, because if you listen to me, listened to that conversation, you understand that it's much more than just a political party. It's a message. It's a geulah. It's an all new concept for the Jewish nation and for the people of Israel, and truly for the entire humanity. So join the Zahut party and be with us and help us as much as you can.
Thank you again, and
Thank
wishing you a
you.
lot of success. Hatzlacha rabba, and I hope to speak with you soon.
Thank you very much.